Yes, sir. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day, all. Welcome to tonight's show, BTS Brothers of the Sun. We are here, we are live, and let's get right into it. It's your boy Jay, or John, Gene, whichever you want to say. JR City, Ricketts Tax, shout out. Follow us on Instagram, Ricketts Tax, Brothers of the Sun, and St. John Miller. Without further ado, let's get to our show. JR, if you want to say anything to the people before we start.
Now let's get right into it, man. I have a video. I want to hear your thoughts on it. So I'm gonna share my video real quick. Let me know what you think.
All right, I'm ready. Got you.
On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk. This black culture that you deem onto us, like the ratchet qualities in particular, are trash when they're possibly learned behaviors that weren't ours to begin with. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully that was clear enough. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I'm not trying to say. Why you not addressing it though, bro? You've been doing this all night too. Because it's not important and it's stupid. It's not important. What the fuck? Why are you asking a question? You don't want me to answer the question? Nah, you right. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. It is what it is. So the reason why I'm not going to sit here and get stuck on this victim mentality and continue to run the victim Olympics. I'm gonna touch on that when you die.
Just let me know when you want me to pause it.
Yeah, I think I've seen
It's
this
because
episode, but you can let it play.
I'm solution oriented. I'm not gonna sit here and go back and forth and get rah-rah'd up and try to see who's the most oppressed, even though neither you or I ever experienced slavery. We don't know anybody that's ever experienced slavery. We don't even know anybody that's ever owned any slaves. And so the thing that I look for is, how can I help people level up?
So what do you think so far?
Case friend.
Nah, I've seen that whole thing, but I I know what they both. I saw the whole video. So my thing is the dude. What's his name? Fooly.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But he I think he's in the right space, but the way he articulated is just coming off as someone who's just going off of emotion. He's not going off of logic or um just facts. He's just going on based on what he's probably seen on social media or what he experienced in his own life. Because anything that you experience is not the norm. You have to go 51%, the majority. And Anton, his point is well presented, but in some ways, people can't understand or accept certain truths because of your tone, how you say it, this and that. But I understand where both of them are coming from. I don't think we have a culture as a black people because there's so many different groups within that black um within us. You have Haitians, you have
Hmm.
Jamaicans, you have Trinidadians, you have Bajans, you have Antiguans, you have Nigerian, you have all groups of black people living in one country that's, oh, you're all free, you got freedom of speech, you got freedom of this and that. But then we forget our own cultures back home and we picking up cultures or picking up habits or anything from people who didn't have any culture or people who forgot their culture and now they're in the same boat as us. We're still not like in one accord. Other people, whites, Italian, there's many different variation of whites. Italian, Polish, Russian, German, like there's all types of white, but they have their own culture within Russian have their own culture even though they're considered white. German have their own culture even though they're considered, white. Um, Americans, like white Americans, I don't know if they really have a culture per se, because everybody
Yeah,
just say we came here, this is our land, we built it from ground up.
it's
But
hard
then it's
to
like,
It's very hard to
Yeah,
define the American slash white culture. But what I would say is I get where both of them were coming from, but so much more. I understand where the guy Pewley or whatever his name was understood more so where he was coming from. And my thing was in that episode, I believe they were talking about, you know, basically black culture, but then Anton went on to say that black culture is trash. And for me, now it's okay to say some parts of black culture is trash because not everything
yeah.
is good, right? And
Not
any
all,
culture.
every, always, most of. It's when anytime you have those types of answers, it's never correct.
Yeah, but in my opinion, you can't be calling the black culture just trash. Like no other person in their culture is gonna be like, oh,
Yeah,
this culture is trash, right? And it's almost like when it comes to black people, we're already so oppressed and so, and everyone is basically living under basically the white supremacy system to the point where when a black person says that, we're gonna go extra hard at you because
yeah,
it's almost like you're putting us down too. In
yeah. It's like you
conjunction
should
with that.
already understand the
Yeah,
struggle.
exactly. And I get where he's coming from. There's certain rap music I don't really like the way they go about it, talking about drugs and guns
Yeah,
and all that stuff. And nobody likes the whole ratchetness of our culture. You know, it's entertaining, but it's not something that we can say that we're really proud of. But there's so many things that in the black culture that we are proud of, and it's kind of like you said. You have Jamaican culture, African culture, Haitian culture, and even Black American culture, and all these different things we can talk about individually and say how they're good and how they're bad. But I can guarantee you, there's more good than bad. So we should always express that. And frankly, there's nothing trash about the good stuff. So you can't really say the whole thing is
yeah,
just trash. And you know what? If he had clarified and say, hey, it's not subjective to the whole culture, then I'll be like, all right, you know.
yeah.
But he's one of those dudes, he's just like, this is what I said it, and
And
that's it.
that's it. Yeah, it's like you can't do that. I know. You know, some people when they get accomplished. I don't know if people switch, like, get more successful, like let their money talk for them. But at some point, you can't just let the money talk. You have to actually explain in detail how you mean something, because people could take anything for their own interpretation. You might say one thing and somebody else takes it a whole 360 or 180. And now you have to explain yourself. Oh, what did you mean by that? That's not what I meant. You took it as something I didn't say. But nowadays, with all this, you can't say anything. No more freedom of speech. It's like you constantly have to explain yourself. What do you mean by that? What do you say about what does this mean? Why did you say that last time and then this time now you switched up? It's like now it's so hard to just talk because everybody's just gonna look for an opening to kind of take a jab at you to see if you're for or against whatever point or
Well,
decision you're making.
I mean, it's kind of like what you said, right? Everybody is part of a group. Everyone is basically putting themselves in a class or a group, or,
Yeah,
it's kind of like, you have the LGBTQ community, and, you know, you have all these different spaces where people are classifying themselves as alphas uh and
betas
that's
and
it.
all that.
Yeah, and my thing is everyone is just putting each other in different groups, and to me that is a form of toxic masculinity in a sense, the whole alpha beta thing. What do you think about that?
Me, I don't really do labels, man. If you a human being, a decent human being, you go out of your way to help people. You do your best to be better than you were yesterday, or do your best to help somebody be better than they were. I think that's what we all should focus on. But with all these groups and labels, it's just dividing more people. I have a lot of different types of friends. I don't look at them any other way. You know, if they're nice to me, I'm nice to them. You know, if they do me dirty, I just, you know, that's it. You know, it was nice knowing you, but if you show me your true colors, then I shouldn't be someone that is, you know, helping you be worse, like helping you be your worst self. If I'm not helping you grow, then I shouldn't be in your life. That's my own personal decision. Other people, they may, you know, say whatever they want to say. But for me, just labeling, I think is just dividing people. And the more you divide people, the less likely you know what you're fighting for as human beings. You know, we all
Yeah.
go through the same struggle, but different ways. You know, that's why we should be more inclusive and learn from each other's mistakes. So that way we're not constantly focusing on this all the same thing over and over. You know, it's just like every year there's a new law, but they keep adding laws and laws, but they never take laws away. So while we have all these laws and there's nothing being done, it's more criminals, more this, more drugs, more guns, more this and that. And you know, it's more ways to divide people. And it's unfortunate that people fall in the trap. I'm this, I'm that. I'm him, he, she, they. Like I don't get it. Maybe it's just me, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
want to touch upon something you said though, a little earlier. You said that when certain people get to a certain level, right? I mean, I don't know this guy's finances, Anton's
Yeah.
finances, but I guess you could say that when certain people get to a certain level, they think a certain way, or as we would classify it, they switch up. Why do you think that when it comes to uh, especially in the black community, I see it more than I see it more in the black community than anywhere else. We feel the need to say, well, now that I have the money, I have to basically hang around with certain groups, or I have to think a certain way where you could be the blackest person in the room, and you could be the blackest person in the room full of black people, and you will still say, well, you know, say the things that you say about, the whole black culture in general. Why do you think people switch up so easy?
One thing I could think of is like if you're in a position of power, success, influence, here we go again with those two.
Yeah.
Um I think that when you're in that type of position, you start to focus more on your brand. Like what do you want to represent, you know, or how you want people to view your brand, your style, your demeanor, your character. Um But that's one of the main thing I would say is like your brand. You know, like you said, I don't know the guy. I'm just, you know, reacting to whatever he said. I
Yeah,
usually,
yeah.
you know,
And it's
watch
very
him and things like that.
it's very entertaining, I'm not gonna lie. Every now and then when I'm bored out of my mind and I want
Yeah,
something entertaining, I definitely check it out. But
yeah,
it's one of those things that I always wonder because you see it a lot. You see it a lot with celebrities mostly because they're the ones, especially in the black community, that usually have certain type of success. And we always see them, a black, let's say someone that's a basketball player, we'll see them dating a white woman all of a sudden. And it's like your whole life you were dating black women, but all of a sudden now you have money and you feel the need to basically start dating white women and say that you don't date black women anymore. There's all these different things that it's weird to me that it's almost like, people say it's mental slavery, but I'm pretty sure there's some psychological reason behind it. I think when we look at success, we look at it in this basically prism of, whiteness. Like in order to look successful, I have to have the most expensive things. I have to drive the Mercedes. I have to, have the biggest house, and I have to wear the Louis Vuitton, and the Gucci, all these different things that we see and we label them with success. Meanwhile, when you look at the white culture and you look at a white person, they're not wearing any of those things. If you look at Warren Buffett, the guy, I don't know if you ever saw what his house looked like. Like, I think I can afford a more expensive house than him, you know? And this guy is what, the second richest person in the world. And it just goes to show you, you don't have to be spending, all that money to be rich or to look rich. You could just lay low and just basically not have everyone in your business. But I think we're infatuated with basically the idea of looking rich so everyone can look at us and say, hey, look at this black guy that made it, even though our bank account says negative 5,000 or something. I don't know.